Good morning. It's great to be with you guys again. Really terrific to have you along. I'm using the microphone this morning, and so as we get underway, how's it? How does it sound? How does it sound to you? So, Steve, especially, I know you're here, Steve. You're back and forth between the acting Secret Service director and what we're doing here, but give me a shout or at least a comment as to how the volume sounds. It's sounding good on my end. I just want to I tested this yesterday, went back, watched the video, just wanted to make sure that it sounded decent. So I want to know how it sounds to you guys. So don't be afraid to comment about the audio. Steve, you're the guy. I mean, I loved your idea, the fourth hour, to rename this as the fourth hour. You may have saw that when you joined this morning, and I just think that's good. Good. Steve says audio levels sound fine. So awesome. I have had this microphone sitting here on my desk and I haven't used it. And I thought, since we're doing this and I want to be at it for a while, I want to give it a little time to kind of get underway and get going. So I thought, well, let's start using the mic again and provide a little better audio because I know you just haven't lived until you've heard me through a better microphone. Anyway, it's great to have you along. I wanted to run down a couple of stories for you this morning. The and we talked about this a little bit on the air this morning. It's amazing to me how the media is, it's Kamala Harris and what's going on, and um, some of the headlines this morning. Donald Trump also is saying he can make a case for not debating Kamala Harris. And I'm curious about that. Do you think Donald Trump should debate Kamala Harris? Now, again, the whole purpose of a debate is it going to change any minds, or is it just going to cater to people who are already rooting for one candidate or the other? Um, Debates are intended to show where candidates stand on the issues, and then hopefully have some kind of influence, some kind of change. Then that folks will say, "Well, I didn't know that they stood on this issue, that was their position, or I didn't know this," or so on, revealing more information. I don't know that that's what debates have become. That debates, and we've talked about this previously, I think debates have become a lot more about entertainment value. And again, not saying that I haven't been entertained by debates. I absolutely have at times, depending on the debate. And I think Donald Trump in particular, when Republicans were doing all those debates and Donald Trump was a newbie in the political spectrum, and he was the guy you tuned in to watch because you didn't know what he was going to say next and you didn't know how he would respond. Um, is it changing people's minds, however, these debates? So Trump saying he wouldn't commit to a debate with Harris until she becomes the Democrat nominee. And he says he was reacting to the Harris campaign claiming that Trump is scared, which is, of course, stupid. But anything coming from the Kamala Harris campaign is stupid. Donald Trump, is he Donald Trump scared of anybody? I mean, to me, this guy is without fear. This is the guy who stood up after an assassin tried to take him out, pierced his ear with a bullet, stood up and told the crowd to fight. Fought the Secret Service who wouldn't let him. They didn't want him to stand up. They didn't know if the threat was still out there. And Donald Trump wanted up. And he's fighting those people. Donald Trump is afraid to debate Kamala Harris. Please, please. You know who that kind of nonsense appeals to? Those who are supporting Kamala Harris. So it's just nonsensical. Trump said, "I want to do a debate, but I also say this: everybody knows who I am, and now people know who she is." And Trump said it's important for the debate to be held before early voting begins. He said the answer is yes, but I can also make a case for not doing it, he said. And he then described Kamala Harris as being even more far left than Biden. She's a worse candidate than him. I certainly agree with that. I think she is, but the debate, who does the debate appeal to? What do you think? I appreciate your thoughts on that matter. Axios has got a story this morning. Kamala Harris' new challenge translating momentum into votes. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, Also, 5 big things this morning, according to Axios. Biden officials tap Obama veterans to help sell climate law incentives. Oh, boy. Here we go. I mean, this is what Joe Biden's remaining months in office are going to be. Climate initiatives and Supreme Court changes. And based on what I'm seeing at Washington Examiner, those proposed changes to the Supreme Court that he wants, those are DOA. Those are DOA. That'll never happen. You'll never get Congress to pass some of that. So it's climate law incentives, and it's just more of the usual leftist kind of claptrap. We talked about this on the air this morning. Deep fakes, parody loophole. This is the piece that Axios did on deep fakes. They're parodies. I'm not going to call them deep fakes. I'm not going to call them cheap fakes. They're parodies. That's what they are. I mean, intelligent people get that, which is why, of course, Axios and has deep fakes. Venezuela and their election. We've not talked about that much on my show. That what's been going on in Venezuela, that's a story that's been trending here the last several days. Events there. Also, they say AI's search quake shakes media landscape. What are they talking about? Let's take a look here. A new AI search products from OpenAI and other industry leaders are forcing news companies to rethink possible deals with AI firms that need news content. I'm not sure that that's a. They also say small cars are hot again because they're cheap. Those small cars right now are leading the way because they're cheap, inexpensive. That does not strike me as any surprise given what's going on with the economy right now, coming from what the Democrats have been doing. And it's one of the reasons also why I just don't think the presidential election right now is really big news. I think the much bigger news is what we talked about on the air this morning. What's been going on with the Secret Service and what's happening along those lines. I wanted to share this with you. Chuck Grassley, Senator Chuck Grassley, has unveiled the most detailed picture yet of the attempted assassination of Donald Trump. And this is coming from Grassley's office and his website. Chuck Grassley said, Grassley has led Congress and federal agencies in providing the public the clearest account of the lead up and aftermath of the shooting in Butler, Pennsylvania. His oversight reveals local law enforcement were aware of Thomas Crooks and his presence more than 90 minutes before he opened fire. Local law enforcement officers had communicated Crooks' presence to their federal counterparts ahead of Donald Trump appearing on stage. I think the question remains as to why they let Donald Trump go on. And then Grassley has got an overview of records that he's received detailing law enforcement's efforts. So this is coming from his website. Senator Grassley also talking about making comments this morning that were leading the news, Fox News, earlier. was this morning was leading with this story of Senator Grassley and what he's out there and what he's finding. Now, Steve, I know you've been kind of watching what's going on, and the acting Secret Service director hearing that's on. And Steve said he looks like what I feel a Secret Service director should look like. Steve said, but he said this assistant FBI director looks like a snake. So I appreciate that. It'll be interesting to see what unfolds with that today, and we'll be talking about that coming up tomorrow. I'm certain that's going to be a big story today. So that's one that I'll be following, and if I get a chance to watch some of this footage, um, I will do so coming up throughout the day. One of the other things, the Pat McAfee talking about the Olympics opening ceremony. We talked about that at length yesterday, and the outrage of a number of Christians and Catholics who were very outraged about it. Let's take that out of it for a moment. And I totally understand why people are outraged. But taking that out of it, Pat McAfee, I thought, made a really great point that the opening ceremony for the Olympics should revolve around sport. And he made some pretty specific comments as he was talking about this. He told the associate, no, hold on. He said this on social media. He said, we need people that love sports being a part of sports happenings. And he said, that's the issue. And this guy who presented the opening ceremonies, that was responsible for that. And he told the Associated Press, and I commented about this on the show this morning. He said, my wish isn't to be subversive, nor to mock or to shock. And I would say, you know what? He doesn't know people outside of his own circle. He doesn't know people outside of his own circle, because those inside of his circle, I'm certain, would not be shocked by this. You know, the people who participated, not shocked. But go to Main Street America and see the react. You know, go to Main Street. And again, we're talking about a world audience. Think about how this is going to be perceived and received by people around the world. I think you really have to get way outside of your bubble on that one, and where you live and what you're comfortable with and what you think. I wouldn't for a moment presume to put my thoughts out there and saying, yeah, everybody in the world's going to love this. I mean, I know better, first of all, because I get emails. So, but I would never ever think that this guy is just living in a bubble. I mean, seriously, he's living in a bubble. And he said, I wanted to send a message of love, a message of inclusion. Oh, there's that word. Love and inclusion are not the same thing. I mean, if you're sending a message of love, inclusion is already part of that. If you're truly sending a message of love, that's not what they did. But again, McAfee talks about this, that the ceremony should have focused on sport, and people who love sports, people who love competition. That's what the opening ceremony should have focused on, McAfee says. And he said, you know, can't have the opening ceremony starting a war, starting a protest. So I hope the next time we go ahead and think about that, how sports are unifying, and we can't have things that aren't part of it be the reason why people won't watch it, because when you watch it, it's magic. He's saying of sports. And I appreciate that perspective. You look and I have thought the same thing. You watch some of these competitors, man, I'm blown away. I could never do that. And their performances and what they're capable of and what they're doing, I can never do that. I am not an athlete. And but I love watching that and celebrating that. So why isn't that celebration and that love of sport and sporting achievement, why isn't that the heart of the opening ceremony program, you know? That's a great question. I think Pat McAfee is asking, um, and it's one I think that you and I have asked. What in the world is, we talked about it, and again, some of the reaction is there are those, and I saw this on my Facebook because I had posted something on Facebook about it, and there's still posts. There are still people posting on that as of today, and I'm like, okay, I'm getting a little bit weary, wearisome for me. Um, but the there are those that, and I can see it in the post, and they certainly strike me as people who just want to attack people of faith, and that's where I start getting angry. They just want to attack people of faith, and that's what's happening right now. I think on my Facebook page, there was some of that. I saw it yesterday, and that's you know it's a little bit disturbing to me. And some of it I called out, and some of it I'm just like, whatever. I'm just, this isn't a hill I'm dying on, willing to die on. I'm just pointing out. Yeah, I think some of you people are incredibly hypocritical. Uh, because there's clearly animus in a lot of this. And I think McAfee is right. You could avoid all of that if you concentrated on sport in the first place. That's what the Olympics are all about. Sporting and the achievements of athletes. That seems really clear to me. Apparently, it's not clear to everyone. Not clear to the guy who organized the opening ceremonies, but that's kind of indicative of the world we live in today. I think that there are a lot of people who are absolutely deaf to how people outside of their groupthink are going to react to it and how they're going to perceive it. Um, there's a lot of that going on today, and on these global events, that ought not to be the case. You ought to have people who are saying, "Hey, it's about the Olympics. It's about the athletes. Let's celebrate those. Let's celebrate achievement. Let's find a creative, unique way to do that and put the spotlight on the athletes and their achievements." It's really what it's all about. I think just even getting to the Olympic Games, um, that's a dream, for many of us. I mean, that'll never be a reality for an overwhelming number of people throughout the world. So it's I at least I found that to be kind of interesting. Steve made a comment about some of the video from Venezuela last night. Steve said, "I was astounded that in the midst of the protests, there was little, if any, destruction and looting. Just people, you know, angry about this new leader being a dictator." I saw video on X, Steve, that it just blew my mind. It was an elderly woman who had gone to vote. And I'm going to recreate this. This woman was literally, she was hunched over like this. I mean, that's how hunched over she was. And she had two people on either side of her who had her by the arm, helping her along as she had gone to vote. And I thought, you know what? That's stinking amazing. And Americans, yeah, we can't be bothered to go vote. You can't be bothered to take 10 minutes out of your day and go to the poll and actually vote. That to me is absolutely incredible. So here's this woman. Again, she was, I think, in her 90s. She was 90 something. And I saw that video on X yesterday and I was blown away by it. And again, it really, it kind of drives home the fact Yeah, we think it's, "Oh, I gotta work. Oh, there's nobody I like. There's just I can't go vote." That is the biggest BS to me when I hear that. I'm just like, I feel a responsibility to go and vote in in person, to go vote. Now, again, and I'm not faulting people who have to get an absentee ballot or any I'm not opening up that can of worms because I understand that sometimes people are traveling on trips, they got stuff going on, whatever, and totally understand that. Totally. So, I'm just saying, I'm talking about the people who just don't go vote. "Oh, no candidates I like, and the whole thing's rigged, and blah, blah." You gotta be a part of what's going on. Just, I know it may be frustrating, and I know we've got just such diverse opinion out there right now, um, but going to the polls, man, I'm never happier. I mean, seriously, the sense of going I shouldn't say I'm never happier, but I feel great. I love going to the polls. I look forward to election day. I look forward to saying my name when I step up and them finding me on the list and yep, you know, um, and going and sitting down in private and casting my ballot. And when I saw that video of this old woman in, Venezuela, again, she was 90 plus, again, hunched over, and I thought, "Yeah, and Americans are gonna complain about how they can't go vote. Go tell that woman that." You know what I mean? It's just absolutely crazy. There was also a video that I caught on X this morning that was, posted. I wanna see what this guy's name here is. Um, Elon Musk reposted it, and that's why I saw it. The guy who goes George at Behizzy Tweets, and he posted a video. This guy went into a Kamala Harris event with a Trump shirt on, and then went to a Trump event with a Kamala shirt on. The difference in the way he was treated is jaw dropping. And so he's got this again, you see him, there's video of him, there's video that goes along with it. And he shows his t-shirt, and it's a Trump t-shirt, and he goes into a Biden event, and the people there are nasty. I mean, they are just downright nasty. They're mean to this guy. And then the guy takes it off, Trump t-shirt on underneath that, or excuse me, a Biden t-shirt on underneath that, goes into a Trump rally. And the people at the Trump rally talking to the guy, they're friendly, uh, and the guy's giving hugs to people and they're hugging him back. And I'm like, that video just absolutely blew me away. You can find it on X. But it's really kind of again, I found that to be very, very striking. The difference in the way people reacted to a guy wearing a Trump shirt at a Biden rally and wearing a Biden shirt at a Trump rally. The folks at the Trump rally, and I'll tell you, I've covered a lot of these, and I've watched a number of these rallies, and the folks that attend these Donald Trump rallies, they're they're folks like you. They love America, they love freedom. They, you know, they want the government to just leave them the hell alone. Do you know what I mean? It's it's a lot of folks in government. Hey, just leave us alone and get out of the way and let us live our lives and stop trying to foist all this stuff on us. And they're just there having a good old time. And if somebody else comes in wearing a Biden shirt or they're going to be they're incredibly nice to them. It's just that's not the response you get though when you wear a Trump shirt to a Biden rally. Lucky this guy was lucky to get away with his life, I think. Anyway, I wanna thank you for letting me join you this morning. Please hit the like button. Hit the like button. I appreciate it so much. Steve, I know you're watching the, acting Secret Service director today, and I will also be watching that a little later this morning, and we'll be talking about that on the Greg Belfrage Show coming up tomorrow. So, I hope you'll join me then. But please hit that like button. Very appreciated. Drop me an email anytime, greg.belfridge@kelo.com, and we'll leave it there for now. Take care, my friend. So long until tomorrow, and may God bless.